Welcome to my channel. So today we will be discussing about polymorphism in Java. So this is going to be a very short video and a short vlog so that this doesn't get boring. So I will definitely explain to all of you about what polymorphism is, and moreover I have seen many students getting confused about what polymorphism or such and such things are, because these are nothing but OOPS concept. So in order to be good at programming, you first have to understand what exactly the OOPS concepts are. So let's start the vlog. But before starting, please do like, share and subscribe my channel. And if you have any kind of questions or queries, please do mention in the comment section so that I can give you a proper reply for the same and resolve your doubts. So the word polymorphism means having many forms. In simple words, we can define polymorphism as the ability of a message to be displayed in more than one form. So what exactly do this mean? A person at the same time can have different characteristics. Okay, like your father, he is a father to you, he is a husband to your mother, and an employee to the organization where he is working. So which means the person is same, but the person is playing different roles, or the person is having different forms at different places. So the same person possesses different behavior in different situations. So this concept is known as polymorphism. Polymorphism means many forms, means a particular person or a particular thing which is having many forms, or who is playing different kind of roles. Now we just understood what polymorphism is. Now what exactly polymorphism is in terms of Java? Polymorphism is considered one of the important features of object-oriented programming, as I said you in the beginning of the vlog. Polymorphism allows us to perform a single action in different ways. In other words, polymorphism allows you to define one interface and have multiple implementations. Now, what exactly this means, I will explain you in the next slide with proper examples so that you have a better clarity of the same. The word poly means many and morphs means forms. So it means many forms. So as of now, just understand only this artifact. After this, in the next slide, I will show you an example, and the polymorphism concept will give you a better clarity and understanding. In Java, polymorphism is divided into two categories. One is compile time polymorphism and another one is runtime polymorphism. What exactly is compile time polymorphism? Compile time polymorphism is known as a static polymorphism. So you might be confused, like what exactly is this? This type of polymorphism is achieved by function overloading or operator overloading. Now again a question comes, what exactly is function overloading and what exactly is operator overloading? But Java, you have to keep a note on this, that Java doesn't support any kind of operator overloading, and in Java function is known as method. So let's discuss about what method overloading is all about. Method overloading means when there are multiple functions with the same name but different parameters, then the functions are known as overloaded. Okay, so what exactly this means, like you may be in confusion, like the function name are same but the parameters are different, which means suppose we have a function 1 and a function 2. Function 1 has two parameters, param1 and param2, say for example, and function 2 has three parameters, param1, param2 and param3. So the difference between these two functions is the number of parameters that these functions are having, correct? The function names are same. So this concept is known as method overloading. Now we will understand in a better way about what compile time polymorphism is and what exactly polymorphism is and what is method overloading. So for example, there are two classes, class helper and class GFG. In class helper, you can easily notice there are two methods with the same name, that is multiply, static int multiply, static double multiply. Both the methods has two parameters each, A and B, which means the number of parameters in both the methods are same, but the difference is on the data type of the parameters. So in this scenario where the number of parameters are same for both the methods having the same name, but the data types are different, qualifies the method overloading rule. Also, if the number of parameters in both the methods were different, that is, if suppose the first method multiply had 3 parameters and the second method multiply had 2 parameters, then also it qualifies the method overloading rule, which means method overloading will satisfy only if the number of parameters are different or the data type of the parameters are different, because the name of both the methods are same. Okay. Second, now there is another class GFG where we have public static void main function, and as we all know in C and C++, that main function is the function which the compiler recognizes. So whatever function you write outside the main function needs to be called within the main function. So here what happens? Now in the helper class you have two methods, as I said, and both the methods are multiplying the values of the parameters, that is A and B. Now what is the values of the parameters? That I'll make you understand. Now under the GFG class, under the main function, we are calling these two methods, that is from the helper class. So as we haven't created any kind of object of the helper class, so we are using the name of the helper class as a prefix. So helper dot multiply. So if you write only helper dot multiply, how will the compiler know like which multiply method to call? So that distinguishing factor is the data type in this case, or in other case maybe the number of parameters. So this concept is known as method overloading. Now let me come to polymorphism. As I said that your father is a father to you, husband to your mother, and an employee to a company. Person is one with different kind of forms. Here also the multiply name is same, but it has different forms. Like the first multiply method has a form of integer, the second multiply method has a form of double. So the method name is same but having different forms. So this concept is known as polymorphism. So I hope guys that the concept of polymorphism as well as the concept of method overloading is now clear to you. So in the previous slide I have shown you the concept of method overloading. So this is another example of method overloading, but slight different from the previous slide. In the previous slide there were two methods with the same name, the number of parameters were same, but the data type of the parameters were different. Here if you notice properly, multiply, same name of the method, but the number of parameters are different. The data type of the parameters are same. In the first multiply we have integer parameter, in the second multiply we also have integer parameter, but in the second multiply method we have 3 parameters, in the first multiply method we have 2 parameters. So whenever you call these two methods from the main function under the GFG class, so here helper.multiply where you are passing 2 values to these 2 parameters, so it will call the first method where you are passing 3 values for the second multiply method, so it will call the second one. Okay, so it will depend on the number of parameters that it consists of. And also, as I have said you, so these are the parameters ABC and these are the values 2, 4, 2, 7, 3. These are the values that you are passing to the parameters, and the parameters are being multiplied, and the value which is being final result or the calculation which is being made is being returned to the method and which is being displayed in the output. So for example, in the first multiply method 2 and 4 are the values which, so it will call the multiply method having 2 parameters. So the first multiply method is having 2 parameters A and B, A into B, that is 2 multiplied by 4, the output is 8. Similarly 2 multiplied by 7 by 3, the output is 42. So this is another example of method overloading as well as polymorphism. Now till yet we have learned about what compile time polymorphism is. Now we are going to learn about what runtime polymorphism is. Runtime polymorphism is also known as dynamic method dispatch. It is a process in which a function called to the override method is resolved at runtime. This type of polymorphism is achieved by method overriding. So we have till yet learned about method overloading. So when it comes to method overloading, so it goes to a concept of compile time polymorphism, and when it comes to method overriding, then it goes to runtime polymorphism. So runtime, as we all know, it is a dynamic thing. So method overriding on the other hand occurs when a derived class has a definition for one of the member function of the base class. That base function is said to be overridden. So let us not get deep into it, into the theoretical part. Let's get directly into the programming part so that I can give you a better clarity of what method overriding is all about. So now this is a bit critical than method overloading. So here I'll make you understand about what method overriding is. So here is one class named parent, another class is there subclass 1, another class is there subclass 2, and finally we have GFG class. Now GFG class is the class under which the main function is being called. So these classes, that is subclass 1, subclass 2 and parent, these are outside the scope of the GFG class. So we need to call all these, if we want to use the methods of these classes, we need to call all these methods inside the main class in order to get that executed. Now let me make you understand. Parent class has a method named print, and void means no return type. Generally, a method must return a value, but once you mention it as void, which means the method is not going to return a value. So void means no return type. So parent class has a method print, which is printing this text literal, that is parent class, or you can say string literal, that is parent class. Subclass 1 is extending the parent class, which means subclass 1 is a child class to the parent class. Okay. Subclass 2 is again extending the parent class. So which means subclass 2 is also the child class of the parent class, which means subclass 1 and subclass 2 is the child class of the parent class. Now note this thing very, very carefully. The parent class is having the method name as print. The subclass is also having the method name as print, and the subclass 2 is also having the method name as print, which means the subclass which is extending the parent class, that is inheriting the parent class, is having the same method name as the parent class method name. Now this concept is known as method overriding. Method overloading was based upon the number of parameters or the data type of the parameters with the same name of the methods. But here in method overriding, it is based on the class that is inheriting its parent class having the same method name. Now how this works? In the main function under the GFG class, if you note very carefully, you have this creating object of class 1, this is parent A. So here you are first creating an object of class 1, that is of the parent class, that is parent space A. But after that you give A equal to new subclass 1, which means that object you actually, means unless and until you use the new keyword, so the object is actually not created, because once you use the new keyword, you are basically calling the constructor by default, which is actually creating the object for the class. Okay, so here you are telling that parent class object is A, but you are using that A object as an object of the subclass 1. So which means that if the method name is same in the subclass which is inheriting the parent class, and you are creating an object of the subclass, the parent class method is being overridden by the subclass method, which means the subclass method is getting the priority, or whenever you are calling this print method, the subclass print method will be called, not the parent class print method, because the print method of the subclass which has inherited the parent class has already overridden the method of the parent class. So this concept is known as method overriding. I'm going to tell you about the code that I have just shown in the previous slide. When an object of a child class is created, then the method inside the child class is called, which means what we have seen, there was a class named parent, there was a class named subclass 1. Subclass 1 is inheriting the parent class. Parent class is having the method name print, subclass 1 is also having the method name print. So the moment you are creating an object for the subclass 1 and you call the print method, the print method of the subclass 1 will be called, not the parent class, because as soon as you have done that, the subclass 1 method has overridden the method of the parent class. This is because the method in the parent class is overridden by the child class, as I have explained to you right now. Since the method is overridden, the method has more priority than the parent method inside the child class. So as soon as you create a child class, you inherit it from your parent and with the same method name, and then you call the method name, then the child class method name gets more priority than the parent class method name, as both the method names are same and you are creating an object for your child class, not the parent class. So your child class method gets called and executed, and this concept is known as method overriding. So what are the advantages of polymorphism? Increases code reusability by allowing objects of different classes to be treated as objects of a common class. Now it allows, like you have two classes of two different objects. Okay, so you can use any of the object and call any of the method, because the method names can be same of the different classes. So the code you can reuse again and again. Improves readability and maintainability of code by reducing the amount of code that needs to be written and maintained, because polymorphism means one having many forms, right? So you need not to, the code need not to be written again and again. Supports dynamic binding, enabling the correct method to be called at runtime based on the actual class of the object, right? Because you are calling it based on the class name or the instance of the class name that is the object. Enables objects to be treated as a single type, making it easier to write generic code that can handle objects of different types. That is, enables the objects to be treated as a single type, right? Now to write generic code that can handle objects of different types, definitely, like this is also an advantage of the polymorphism in Java. Lastly, what are the disadvantages of polymorphism? Now, can make it more difficult to understand the behavior of an object, especially if the code is complex. Like definitely if there is a method overriding or a method overloading concept, then definitely if the code is so long and if the code is so complex, so it becomes a bit difficult to understand like what exactly is happening. And this may lead to performance issues, as polymorphic behavior may require additional computations at runtime, definitely, because at runtime you have two kinds of polymorphism, compile and time and runtime polymorphism, where you have a method overloading and a method overriding concept, and you have a long code that is say for 2000 lines, 3000 lines of code, and where definitely it may hit the performance issues because the name of the methods are same, only they distinguish based on the number of parameters or the data type of the parameters, or definitely when the child class is calling the parent class and then the child class gets the priority. So these are the things that definitely leads to a performance issue also. So guys, thank you for watching the video. So definitely please do like, share and subscribe if you like the video, and also please do put your comments in the comment section, because in near future I'm going to bring more short topics about the OOPS concept. Even I'm going to teach you about what Python is, what are the basics of Python, definitely into big data, into Tableau, and into many more such technologies. And definitely I'll take you over to the databases like the Oracle database, what are the SQL queries, how to write PL/SQL blocks, and how to create an Oracle form or an Oracle report, even into cloud, like how to work with Apex, and what are the basics of the Apex, so that you can be benefited from my video. So keep watching and keep subscribing and help me growing, because without your help I will not be able to grow and provide you valuable information from this channel. So thank you so much, and thanks for watching once again.